All right. So the question was, is there any in this that could be tied with the 1,260 days and 1,290 days and the 1,335 days in the book of Daniel? I started this off because, let me see if I can. I started this, looking into this because there had been on my Facebook feed quite a number of posts on the 364-day calendar. So it's kind of happy that everybody is starting to get into this. And this is something that I presented some years back, and it's with regards to the 1,335 days in the book of Daniel and how they would fit in this calendar. Something that Dr. Michael Heiser, and I think maybe I quoted at the end of this presentation or this post, but Dr. Michael Heiser, the late Dr. Michael Heiser, who has done quite a bit of study on, of course, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch, and a lot of different things. I had recommended his book called The Unseen Realm in the past as well for a study in the Book of Enoch. But he says that this is the only calendar in which these days actually work. So what I said was, let's start counting from the first day of the seventh month. So the first day of the seventh month would correspond to the day of trumpets or the day of blowing. This is a high day, and it's, yeah, so this is the first feast of the fall feasts. So we count from the first day of the seventh month to the following year's Shavuot, which falls on the 15th day of the third month. Okay, so from the first of the seventh month to the 15th of the third month is 243 days. Okay, 243 days. Now we add 3 years to that of 364 days. That's 1,092 days. 1,092 days plus 243 days is exactly 1,335 days. So between 3 years elapsing and a half, okay, so we have often looked at 3.5 years, time, times, and half a time. We looked at it as it's 3.5 years. So people have looked at 364 days divided by 2 and doing or multiply by 3.5. Doesn't gel. It doesn't get us anywhere. But if you understand that what Daniel was writing was, I think it's Moedim Chatzi or something like that. It's referring to seasons. Okay, it's referring to the feasts. So we have 3.5 feast cycles that are referred to here. And that's 1,335 days. Daniel chapter 12, verse 7 to 12. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that lives forever, and that it shall be for a time, times, and half a time. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then I said, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried. Okay, hopefully that's us. Are we being purified and made white? Are we being tried? But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. I believe that this is a time when we are seeing people turning to Torah. They're understanding, they're being made white. They are being tried through the different tribulations that they're going through. And then the rest who don't want to follow will continue in the way that of rejection of the Most High. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waits and comes to the 1,335 days. Imagine if we understand that the 1,335 days is Shavuot, yes, definitely we'll be blessed because that is a time of the renewal of the covenant. But let's see where the other days get us to. Okay, so 1,290 days, that is 45 days before the 1,335th day. And that would get us to the first day of the second month. So I was curious to see what significant event occurred as a foreshadow for us in the scriptures on that day. The number of the men of war is what happened. The numbering of the men of war is what was happening in the book of Numbers. How exciting is that? Is this Numbers chapter 1, verse 1 to 4, and verse 18 to 19. And Yahweh spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, you and Aaron shall number them by their armies. And with you there shall be a man of every tribe, every one head of the house of his fathers. In verse 18, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upward by their polls. And as Yahweh commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. Imagine this is happening in the wilderness. It's not happening in the land. It's not happening when the kingdom is already established. It's happening in the wilderness. So in this wilderness that we are in, the wilderness of the nations that we have been scattered in, and we are waiting for the promise of return, okay? Is he preparing his people? Is it going to be a time for him to get his armies ready, right? Because he says that he comes back with 10,000s of his saints. All of us are going to have to be, or those of us who are called to that, or those who will be called to that. Why am I'm not putting myself in there because I really don't know. I just pray that I'll be faithful to the end. But he desires to select a group of people that will be part of his army. So on the first day of the second month is the time. And remember that they were 1 year into the their time in the wilderness, and they started numbering their armies. Okay. So let's continue on. And the numbering of the men of war sends us to 1 Chronicles chapter 27, verse 1 to 3. Now the children of Israel, after their number, to wit, the chief fathers and captains of thousands and hundreds, and their officers that served the king in any matter of the courses, which came in and went out month by month throughout all the months of the year, of every course, were 20 and 4,000. Over the first course for the first month was Yashobeam, the son of Zabdiel, and in his course were 24,000. Of the children of Perez was the chief of all the captains of the host for the first month. For each month, if you go through 1 Chronicles 27, for each month, 24,000 men were assigned to be with the king, and this is what it says, serving him in any matter of the courses. Does this echo the roll of the 144,000 sealed, okay, we talked about sealing just now, sealed with the name of Yah. It says in the book of Revelation, chapter 14, verse 4, these are they which were not defiled with women. Remember that before Shavuot, the people were supposed to cleanse themselves, right? They were not to touch any women. Then they were not to go near any women. Then in the book of Daniel as well, it says that they purify themselves, right? They wash their robes. Similarly, in Exodus 19, they are told to wash their robes. So there are parallels here that we can't ignore. These are they which follow the Lamb wherever he goes. Okay, so the Lamb is a king. And so in any matter of the courses, so in any matter of the army, these are the ones that are together with the king, with the Lamb. So wherever he goes, these were redeemed from among men, being what? The first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb. Who are the first fruits? We talked about the firstborn. We talked about the ones that come from the grain, the wine, the oil, those that have gone through that process and are sealed. They are anointed at the end. They receive that fresh oil. Okay. They are selected, they're redeemed, they are set apart from among men. Not that the other men are not kept, okay? That's not what it's saying. Is that there is a group that is selected specifically for this particular service of serving the king, the Lamb, everywhere he goes, and they are with him everywhere. They follow the Lamb everywhere. So in 1 Chronicles chapter 27, there was a total of 288,000 assigned to the king for the year, 24,000 each month. That is 144,000 times 2. Is this significant? What is the importance of it? Why is it times 2? Is there something that we need to learn from this? I am only seeing that there are parallels. I don't know exactly how it worked out, but definitely there is something there. Now, what is interesting is that we went back from 1,290 days. Okay, 1,335 minus 45 gets us to the first day of the second month. Then the 1,260 days, that's 30 days before 1,290, that would get us to the first day of the first month, which is the beginning of the year. That would be the time of the setting up of the tabernacle. And I don't think I have it in here. I think that's it. Let me see if I had a little bit more in my. Yeah, I just said that could the armies be numbered on the first day of the second month before the second Passover to prepare for an entry into the kingdom, just as Joshua prepared the troops before the Passover. So it's very interesting because we talked about the Passover. We talked about the first Passover last week, but we didn't touch on the second Passover. The second Passover is on the 14th day of the second month. And there are no indications that we are to keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days, at least not in Torah. But it's interesting that the second Passover is for those that touched dead bodies and that were on a long travel, couldn't keep the feast of the Passover at its appointed time. And it seems to be like us, where we have been on a long journey. We are to keep maybe that second Passover. Are we to prepare ourselves for that second Passover that is to come? It is interesting too that the second Passover falls on the 14th day of the second month. On the 17th day of the second month is when Noah entered into the ark. And what is another interesting aspect of it is that after the second, the anniversary of Noah being in the ark, okay, so he was almost about a year until all the waters came down and they were able to come out of the ark. They came out of the ark on the 27th day of the second month. And then on the 28th day of the second month is when Yahusha was ascended into heaven. So all of these things in our mind, when we have the understanding of the calendar, just place all the dates there. There's so much to learn. There's so much that we can glean from that, okay? So I encourage us to keep digging, keep looking. I know that it's getting late for some of you over there and that you better go and sleep.